Hello, and welcome back to another conversation that we've got planned with another very innovative leader. Alexis Nicolaou leads our distributed ledger technology services at Grant Thornton Cyprus and is the managing director of our subsidiary company, Grant Thornton Blockchain in Cyprus. Before I welcome him and thank him for his time today, he did mention to me earlier that if anybody tells you they're an expert in blockchain, you shouldn't listen and you should run away. So I won't introduce him as an expert in blockchain, but Alexis, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you very much, Ben, for having me with you. Just to go back to your expert comment, blockchain is such a nascent technology and so evolving, so quickly evolving that for somebody to become an expert, it will take years and it will take time until the technology actually shapes itself and thus allowing people to gain that expertise concerning how it operates. But thank you very much for having me and looking forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. You know, you were mentioning how there might be people who aren't sure whether or not blockchain is really the way of the future or is something that's going to impact our lives and our business. How soon do you think we can expect these kinds of technologies to really be an everyday part of our lives?
Well, it's true that when you hear of a word so frequently and in most cases with so much conviction, it's only natural reaction for many people to take a step back and consider whether they should look deeper into it or simply ignore and hope that it will go away. In the case of blockchain, it's definitely not the latter. Blockchain is here to stay. And in my humble opinion, soon we won't be even referring to it as blockchain, but just like we're not referring to HTTPS anymore, and we simply say the internet, exactly the same will happen with blockchain. Where we are now, I feel we're at the peak of a slope of enlightenment, where corporates and customers really learn and begin to use the technology for practical, useful purposes that would change how companies, applications, and users interact. According to a Gartner report, the 2020s will be the decade where blockchain will leave the small-scale proof of concept projects and make its way into the operational structure of multinational corporations. As of this year and over the next couple of years, it will expand into a number of pragmatic use cases, and that will be in areas like payment processing, data sharing, equity trading, contract document keeping and tracking. Blockchain, the report says, will be fully scalable by 2023.
Wow, and that's kind of a lot of great information for us to lead off with. And I would say, going off of some of what you said there, how do you think Cyprus, especially being one of the smaller EU member states, how is Cyprus embracing this kind of new technology? There's so much innovation in Cyprus. How is that all coming to pass?
Well, you know, Ben, it's not really the size of the country that matters, but the size of the dream. And in the blockchain space, we have examples of countries like Estonia, for example, a country not much bigger than Cyprus, that had the vision a few years back to take advantage of technologies like blockchain and build a system of governance that countries much bigger in size look up to. Now, at government level, Cyprus is, as of lately, making some steps, some headway into this space. The recent creation of an independent ministry for research and innovation and the minister coming from the private sector, an ex-IBM executive, has already come out with an RFI, a request for interest for implementing blockchain in sectors of government, and is in the process of drafting legislation that will facilitate the application of distributed ledger technology and blockchain into the government sector, and will provide legal certainty to promote the proper use of smart contracts in Cyprus. Now, this legislation is expected to be presented to Parliament within the year. At private level, Cyprus has been blessed with the presence of an academic institution, a university, the University of Nicosia, a pioneer in the space. UNIC is considered as the #1 university globally in education and research in the blockchain space, with a team of over 40 professionals specializing in this technology. They have participation in a great number of projects, European and others, and their consortium has recently been awarded the management of the EU Blockchain Observatory, whose mission is to promote blockchain in Europe. Back in 2014, they were the first university globally to offer a master's course in blockchain and digital currencies. As a result of the presence of this academic institution in the country, the general level of people's knowledge of the technology is relatively high. I cannot say the same, I'm afraid, for the level of adoption, however, and that, in my opinion, is based on two reasons. First of all, the absence of legislation that will give people the boost of confidence much needed for adopting any nascent technology. And secondly, the shift of priorities, the recent shift of priorities brought about by the crisis, where unfortunately for a great number of companies, striving for financial survival leaves little room for investment in new technology.
Certainly. How do you see these technologies affecting the accounting and audit professions? I guess from maybe a global level, but also from the perspective of an individual accountant, an individual auditor. What does blockchain change, or maybe not change, about the way that you do your work, the way that we run our business?
Blockchain will have a great impact on the work of accountants, and if I remember correctly, it was Michael Isa, the head of the institute, that said in one of his speeches that accountants will need to evolve, he said, and like crocodiles, get in the water and survive. Otherwise, they will be finding our fossils in years to come. And how can blockchain not have an impact on the accounting profession, as it's in fact itself a ledger that is distributed across a number of computers or nodes, as they called. Because all entries on a blockchain are distributed and cryptographically sealed, it is virtually impossible to destroy or manipulate information, preventing people from being able to, what we say, cook the books or conduct other forms of financial fraud. Blockchain will be accessible to all relevant parties by employing the so-called treble entry bookkeeping model. Treble entry adds a third layer or entry. All transactions and involved parties are written on the blockchain, and the information is shared with everyone that is involved. Now, this means that all stakeholders, whether it's the accountant, the auditor, the client, the regulator, they will always have an identical copy of the ledger shared across a peer-to-peer network of nodes or computers that is spread across multiple sites. Now, to alter that information in the ledger requires the permission of everyone involved, which means that information on the blockchain can be accurately relied upon. Now, accounting will become more continuous. Imagine a world where the books are always ready for reporting, where you always have real-time, complete, up-to-date information about the performance of your business. The future accountant must have a flair for IT and not just numbers. The accountant must work closely with the IT department so that they can understand one another's language. The auditor of the future will be a different beast altogether. They will be more closely concerned with validating systems of governance and controls, validating the security and integrity of data within systems, and being capable of determining whether platforms or applications are operating as intended. Imagine a blockchain economy where every transaction is written on a blockchain. Governments will never lose money through unpaid taxes. There's less audit work, but it won't make the auditor redundant. Rather, the auditor will investigate the blockchain and not the individual tax evader. New service lines will be open. This is a major opportunity that blockchain will provide to our profession. With the increased access to our clients' data and more efficient audits, the door will be open for higher value and highly insightful advisory services. This is what blockchain will help drive the change in the profession and open the doors to bringing true value to our clients. It's likely the auditor of the future will not even be an accountant, but a blockchain expert trained to identify and report ways in which blockchain technology can be abused.
On that point, and with respect to Grant Thornton Cyprus, what are some of the ways that we're already assisting our clients in adopting these kinds of solutions? And has Grant Thornton Cyprus developed anything internally that could potentially be used across our global network?
So I don't want to give the impression that we've got the clients lined outside our door waiting to be served, by the way. We're still some way from that. But we have managed through the, I don't think I've mentioned it, but through our relationship with the University of Nicosia, we have taken over the management of one of their spin-offs, actually the only spin-off they had so far, a company called Block.co. Which is the main project that we have been running for the last couple of years. Block.co has developed a BaaS platform, blockchain as a service platform, which enables organizations to anchor any size documents on the Bitcoin blockchain, the most distributed and most secure of blockchains. This could be an academic certificate, and the whole process started off back in 2014 by the university itself, when they were the first to publish their academic certificates on the Bitcoin blockchain. So an academic certificate, it could be any kind of a legal document, like, for example, on intellectual property rights. We've engaged with the legal officers that anchor their clients' intellectual property rights on the blockchain. It could be an insurance certificate or any other government issued document. This will secure the authenticity of that document, and at the same time, it would enable the owner of the document to share it with any third party, maybe an authority or a contracting party, and for that third party to verify the authenticity of that document independently, that is, without having to contact the issuer themselves. So imagine a world where you can actually have trust in any document that is being put in front of you, whatever document that may be, as I previously mentioned. Now, more relevant to our profession, this document could be an invoice or a set of financial statements. Think of the ease with which an invoice, most of which nowadays are issued in electronic PDF format, can be tampered, and the difficulty for an auditor to identify such a fraudulent action, or the efficiency of issuing a company's audited financial statements on the blockchain, and for the blockchain to be the single most reliable source of truth as to the authenticity of those statements. So in reply to your question, the tool that we have developed with block.co would be quite useful to network firms that wish to increase the efficiency of their own internal processes, as well as that of their clients.
So Alexis, thank you so much for your time, for your thoughts, and we definitely look forward to working with you in the future.